Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue of shocking betrayals and family secrets that promise to rock Port Charles to its core on Tuesday, November 4th. As tensions simmer in the wake of recent scandals, Tracy Quartermaine emerges as a force of reckoning, determined to halt the shady alliance between Drew Cain and the enigmatic Veronica Ronnie Bard before they can seal a deal that could dismantle the Quartermaine legacy forever. Picture this: Tracy, with her sharp wit and unyielding resolve honed from decades of corporate battles, uncovers a bombshell that sends her sprinting toward confrontation, her mind racing with visions of how this deception might have started months ago during a late-night board meeting where whispers of forged documents first surfaced among the family's trusted advisors. Meanwhile, across town, Sonny Corinthos channels his street-smart instincts to shield his son Michael from an impending legal storm, dropping a bombshell tip to Alexis Davis that could redirect the spotlight away from the Corinthos heir. Sonny, ever the protective patriarch whose loyalty has weathered mob wars and personal heartaches, arrives at Alexis's office with a steely gaze, laying out evidence that points squarely at Portia Robinson as the true architect of the frame job implicating Michael. He paints a vivid picture for Alexis, recounting hushed conversations he's overheard at the hospital where Portia's ambitions clashed with ethical boundaries, suggesting she manipulated situations to climb the social ladder in Port Charles, perhaps even tying into her past decisions during high-stakes surgeries that blurred lines between patient care and personal gain. Yet, Alexis, the seasoned legal eagle with a track record of navigating the town's moral mazes, pauses thoughtfully, weighing whether Michael's direct ties to Willow Tate's accusations, where Willow tearfully recounted feeling sabotaged in her recovery, make him an easier target for the jury, potentially unraveling Sonny's gambit and forcing a deeper dive into family vendettas that trace back to the nurses' ball scandals. In a parallel thread of intrigue, Jen Sidwell slinks into Laura Collins's domain, his silver-tongued charm on full display as he proposes a clandestine bargain, boldly claiming that even the most principled mayor has a vulnerability that can be leveraged for mutual benefit. Sidwell, a shadowy figure with a history of brokering deals in underground circles from New York to Port Charles, dangles incentives like political favors or hidden financial perks, imagining Laura's mayoral campaigns could use the boost amid rising city council pressures over budget shortfalls. But Laura, fortified by years of public service and personal trials including her own battles with corruption in the Cassadine empire, stands firm, her eyes flashing with disdain as she escorts him out, slamming the door on what she sees as a blatant attempt to taint her office, though deep down, she wonders if Sidwell's persistence hints at larger threats looming over the waterfront development projects she's championed. Shifting to matters of the heart, Curtis Ashford confronts Jordan Ashford in a moment of raw vulnerability, declaring that no matter the twists surrounding Portia's unborn child, rumors of paternity doubts swirling like storm clouds over General Hospital, he's recommitted solely to her, the woman who stood by him through investigations and personal rebuilds. Curtis, drawing from their shared history of resilience after his paralysis and her rise through the police ranks, reaches out with a tenderness that reignites old sparks, perhaps reminiscing about quiet evenings at the Floating Rib where they first bonded over case files and dreams of stability. This confession could ignite a passionate reunion, with stolen glances evolving into embraces that challenge the boundaries of their professional lives, especially as Jordan grapples with her own lingering affections amid the chaos of precinct politics and family obligations. On another front, young Emma Scorpio Drake corners Britt Westbourne in a tense interrogation after stumbling upon her entangled with the notorious Professor Hank Dalton, her youthful determination fueled by a desire to protect her loved ones from his web of manipulations. Emma, inheriting her parents' investigative prowess from Robin's scientific curiosity and Frisco's daring, presses Britt for details on Dalton's shadowy research projects that seem to involve experimental tech with ties to Port Charles's elite, but Britt stonewalls her, offering only cryptic smiles that hint at her own complicated loyalties shaped by her medical career and past escapes from danger. Undeterred, Emma's resolve hardens, propelling her toward a clandestine meeting with Gio Palmieri, where they'll brainstorm takedown tactics, maybe hacking into Dalton's encrypted files or rallying allies like Cameron Weber, plotting moves that could expose a larger conspiracy involving corporate espionage at ELQ Enterprises. As the Quartermaine saga intensifies, Drew Cain leans on Veronica Ronnie Bard with urgent persuasion, urging her to ink the controversial documents that would bury the ongoing family feud once and for all, his military precision clashing with the emotional undercurrents of betrayal. Drew, still adjusting to his life post-amnesia and Aurora Media empire, envisions this as a clean break, but his confidence wavers as Tracy's arrival looms like a thunderclap, her possession of Monica Quartermaine's authentic last will and testament, a document unearthed from a forgotten safe deposit box filled with mementos from Monica's tenure as chief of staff, threatening to upend everything. Tracy bursts into the mansion with dramatic flair, her voice echoing through the opulent halls as she brands Ronnie a fraudster, accusing her of forging alterations that favored certain heirs over others, possibly motivated by grudges from a long-ago internship where Ronnie felt slighted by the Quartermaine hierarchy. This explosive revelation doesn't spare Drew, as Tracy's piercing stare suggests he might be complicit in Ronnie's scheme, recalling suspicious late-night calls Drew made during the will's drafting phase that now seem damning in hindsight. Adding layers to the drama, Martin Gray hovers in the shadows, his legal expertise from Graysmith firm potentially shielding him initially, but he might deflect blame onto Drew to save face or even betray Ronnie if cornered, drawing from his own history of navigating ethical gray areas in high-profile divorces. The Quartermaine estate, already a powder keg with simmering rivalries between Ned, Brooke Lynn, and the younger generation, erupts into pandemonium, shouts reverberating off marble floors, alliances fracturing in real time, and secrets spilling like champagne at a gala gone wrong, as family members scramble to verify the will's authenticity, perhaps calling in experts like Scott Baldwin for forensic analysis. Delving deeper into Sonny's maneuver, his choice of Portia as the alternative suspect stems from intercepted hospital gossip about her handling of sensitive patient records, which could tie into broader cover-ups involving the baby's health complications and Curtis's lingering doubts, painting Portia as desperate to maintain her status in Port Charles society. Alexis, poring over case files under the dim light of her desk lamp, contemplates the jury's perspective. Michael's business acumen and Willow's emotional testimony might sway them more than Portia's medical credentials, forcing Sonny to escalate by revealing a fabricated alibi or anonymous tip that implicates Portia further, risking his own credibility in the process. Laura's rejection of Sidwell isn't without aftershocks. As he storms out, he mutters threats about exposing municipal vulnerabilities, like unreported funds from charity events, prompting Laura to alert Kevin Collins for psychological profiling on this new adversary, whose background might include ties to international smugglers eyeing Port Charles Harbor expansions. Curtis and Jordan's potential rekindling adds emotional depth, with Curtis gifting her a locket from his private collection symbolizing their unbreakable bond, while Jordan hesitates, mindful of professional repercussions but drawn to the passion that once defined their off-duty moments amid stakeouts and celebrations. Emma's grilling of Britt uncovers subtle clues, like a misplaced lab key that Britt nervously pockets, fueling Emma's theory that Dalton's work involves bioenhancements linked to past Metro Court incidents, motivating her and Gio to scout locations for surveillance, perhaps enlisting Anna Devane's spy network for gadgets and intel. Drew's pressure on Ronnie builds suspense, with her hesitating over the pen, flashbacks revealing their initial pact formed during a stormy night at the cabin, only for Tracy's intrusion to shatter the illusion, her evidence including time-stamped emails that expose the timeline of deceit. In the mansion melee, invented tensions arise as Dylan Quartermaine returns unexpectedly, siding with Tracy and demanding a family vote on inheritance validity, while Sasha Gilmore witnesses the chaos and leaks snippets to the press, amplifying the scandal citywide. Martin, sensing the tide turn, might confess partial involvement to mitigate damage, citing pressure from anonymous benefactors, but Ronnie's defiance could lead to her arrest, dragging Drew into custody for questioning and unraveling threads connected to Jason Morgan's legacy. As these plots collide, Port Charles braces for fallout. Sonny's protection of Michael strengthens father-son ties but strains his alliance with Alexis. Laura fortifies her office against Sidwell's schemes. Curtis and Jordan explore renewed intimacy that heals old wounds, and Emma's crusade against Dalton gains momentum with innovative plans. The Quartermaine fraud exposure promises legal battles ahead, with Tracy as the unyielding avenger, ensuring no stone unturned in reclaiming the family's honor. Next, we will learn about the escalating family tensions in Port Charles as Giovanni Gio Palmieri's bold moves threaten to pull his newly discovered brother Rocco Falconeri into a web of danger, leaving their father Dante Falconeri on the brink of an explosive outburst. In the ever-twisting world of General Hospital, where family bonds are tested by secrets and shadows, the fragile reconciliation between Dante and his long-lost son Gio is hanging by a thread. Just as father and son began to bridge the years of separation with tentative conversations and shared moments at the Falconeri family home, a storm is brewing that could shatter their progress. Gio, with his impulsive drive for justice inherited from the Falconeri lineage, has unwittingly set events in motion that place Rocco, the younger brother who's always sought his dad's approval, squarely in harm's way. This isn't just a sibling rivalry gone wrong, It's a high-stakes clash involving underground experiments and powerful enemies, forcing Dante to confront the darker side of protecting his kids. Fans have speculated that this plotline draws from classic GH themes of redemption and risk, amplifying the drama with modern twists like covert lab intrusions and teen alliances. As Dante's detective instincts clash with his paternal instincts, the fallout promises to redefine their family dynamic in ways no one anticipated. The catalyst for this chaos stems from Joe's unrelenting quest alongside Emma Scorpio Drake to unmask the enigmatic Professor Henry "Hank" Dalton, a figure whose shadowy dealings in Port Charles have long whispered through the corridors of General Hospital. Dalton, portrayed as a brilliant but morally ambiguous scientist with ties to international funding sources, has been rumored to conduct unethical research under the guise of medical advancements. Gio and Emma, fueled by a mix of personal vendettas, Emma's connection to her father's legacy in espionage and Joe's desire to prove his worth to his new family, have escalated their investigation into a full-blown operation. They've recruited a group of eager teens, believing their youthful energy and tech savvy could crack Dalton's defenses without drawing adult attention. But in a town like Port Charles, where alliances shift like sand, this amateur espionage is a powder keg waiting to ignite, potentially exposing vulnerabilities that even seasoned players like Sonny Corinthos might envy. Inventing a new layer here, imagine Gio sharing classified sketches of Dalton's lab layout, pilfered from an anonymous tip, which hint at bioengineered serums far more sinister than mere pharmaceuticals, adding a sci-fi edge to the soap's traditional intrigue. At the heart of Bobby's Diner, a neutral ground buzzing with the chatter of locals and the aroma of fresh coffee, Gio and Emma orchestrate their pivotal meeting with the teen contingent, Rocco Falconeri, his sharp-witted sister Charlotte Cassadine, and the resourceful Danny Morgan. This isn't a casual hangout, it's a clandestine strategy session disguised as a study group, complete with laptops humming and whispered plans over milkshakes. Gio outlines the mission: infiltrate Dalton's off-site facility under the cover of a school field trip pretext, using hidden cameras and hacked security feeds to gather evidence. Emma, ever the strategist with her Scorpio heritage, assigns roles: Rocco on lookout duty, Charlotte hacking minor access codes with her tech prodigy skills, and Danny handling distractions with his street-smart diversions. They assure the group it's low risk, just a quick in and out to document the alleged animal testing horrors, but the reality is far dicier. Picture added tension from a sudden rainstorm delaying their exit, forcing the kids to huddle in a storage room amid flickering lab lights, their heartbeats syncing with the distant whir of machinery. This scene not only heightens the suspense but underscores the innocence of the teens clashing against the adult world's ruthlessness, a motif that echoes through GH's history of youthful misadventures. As desperation mounts in their crusade against Dalton, Gio and Emma's partnership reveals cracks under the pressure of a conspiracy deeper than they imagined. They've been piecing together clues for months, stolen emails suggesting Dalton's experiments involve not just animals but experimental enhancements on human volunteers, possibly linked to black market organ trades. Emma's late-night research sessions in the Quartermaine library uncover faded records tying Dalton to old Port Charles scandals, while Joe's street connections provide gritty intel on supply chains smuggling rare compounds into the city. Yet, their naivety blinds them to the broader network. Enter Jen Sidwell, a slick venture capitalist with a hidden agenda, pushing for Britt Westbourne to helm the project as a cover for revitalizing Caesar Faison's dormant empire. Britt, with her complicated past as a doctor entangled in Faison's machinations, represents a wild card that could either dismantle or amplify the threat. Adding inventive depth, envision a subplot where Sidwell hosts a gala at the Metro Court, luring Britt with promises of redemption through legitimate research, only for Joe's team to eavesdrop and misinterpret a coded conversation, accelerating their risky timeline. This layer introduces moral ambiguity, questioning whether Britt's involvement stems from coercion or ambition, enriching the narrative with psychological tension. Dante Falconeri's world shatters when fragments of this scheme reach his ears through a tip from a patrol officer spotting suspicious teen activity near the docks. Already on edge from his own caseload involving arms trafficking rings, Dante connects the dots. Britt's name surfaces in police briefs about Faison's remnants, a ghost from his past that still haunts his nightmares of betrayal and loss. His reaction is visceral, a storm of fury as he realizes Rocco, the son he's shielded through divorces and dangers, is neck-deep in this mess alongside Gio, Emma, Danny, and Charlotte. Dante's cop instincts scream protocol violation, picturing worst-case scenarios like booby-trapped doors or armed guards patrolling Dalton's perimeter. In a newly fabricated scene, Dante bursts into the Falconeri apartment, phone in hand with a frantic call from Lulu warning about Charlotte's involvement, his face paling at the thought of his kids becoming pawns in a larger game. This revelation forces Dante to balance his badge with his heart, potentially leading to undercover surveillance on his own family to extract them safely, a twist that amplifies the paternal drama. Rocco's enthusiasm for the mission, driven by a need to step out of his brother's shadow and earn Dante's pride, propels him into overdrive, turning a simple recon into a potential catastrophe. The teen, with his falconry resilience and a dash of youthful bravado, volunteers for the most daring task, slipping inside the lab to photograph caged specimens, convinced his agility from soccer practice will keep him unseen. But in the dim glow of fluorescent lights and the eerie silence broken only by muffled whimpers from test subjects, Rocco stumbles upon encrypted files revealing human trial phases, names of Port Charles residents blurred but familiar. This discovery marks him as a target, with Dalton's security goons, perhaps hired mercenaries with ties to the Cassadine Empire, closing in. Expanding on this, imagine Rocco confiding in Danny about a cryptic note he finds, hinting at a mole within the PCPD, which sows seeds of paranoia among the group and forces an impromptu escape through ventilation shafts, scraping knees and heightening the adrenaline. Rocco's arc here explores themes of growing up too fast, mirroring classic GH coming-of-age stories like those of Michael Corinthos, where ambition meets peril. A sneak peek from the GH fall preview tantalizes viewers with Gio forging a deeper alliance with one falconry relative, perhaps a heartfelt late-night talk with Lulu about his regrets, while fraying ties with others through his reckless choices. The bad blood between the brothers already simmers from a prior incident, a wild party where an inebriated Gio, still adjusting to family life, dragged Rocco into a bar brawl that left the younger boy bruised and Dante seething with accusations of poor influence. That night, under neon lights and blaring music, Joe's attempt at bonding devolved into chaos when Rocco defended him from hecklers, only to face Dante's wrath the next morning over breakfast gone cold. Now, with history repeating, Dante's protective fury reignites, his detective background sharpening his response to the sinister undercurrents of Dalton's operation, whispers of corporate espionage and ethical breaches that could implicate city officials. Will Dante's interrogation of Gio turn physical, or will it manifest as a cold shoulder that pushes the son further into isolation? This conflict delves into the falconry men's shared traits of loyalty and impulsivity, adding emotional layers to their evolving saga. In a pulse-pounding climax teased by juicy spoilers, Dante receives chilling news that catapults the family into crisis mode. Rocco vanishes briefly during the lab breach, emerging shaken with a warning from an unseen ally about Dalton's retaliation plans. Blaming Gio for dragging his brother into the fray, Dante confronts him in a rain-soaked confrontation outside the precinct, voices echoing off brick walls as accusations fly. This moment crystallizes the stakes, with Gio defending his actions as necessary heroism, while Dante grapples with forgiving a son who's mirroring his own youthful mistakes from the Force's academy days. As the plot thickens, expect ripple effects, Emma's guilt leading to a confession to her parents, Charlotte leveraging Cassadine resources for backup, and Danny alerting his mom Sam to the danger. Next, we will learn about the issue of a baffling slip-up by Nathan West that has fans scratching their heads over his forgotten history with young Charlotte Cassadine. In the latest episode that left viewers buzzing, Nathan found himself in a casual yet revealing conversation with his old flame Lulu Spencer, where he casually mentioned his eagerness to finally meet Charlotte for the first time. This offhand remark hit like a thunderbolt because anyone tuned into Port Charles's tangled web of family secrets knows Nathan has a deep, albeit brief, connection to the little girl from years past. As the scene unfolded in the dimly lit corner of Kelly's diner, with steam rising from fresh coffee mugs and the hum of everyday town chatter in the background, Nathan's words seemed innocent enough at first glance, but they quickly unraveled into a puzzle that questions everything we thought we knew about his return. Diving deeper into the archives of General Hospital's dramatic legacy, let's rewind to the chaotic days when Claudette Beaulieu, Nathan's enigmatic ex-wife, stormed back into Port Charles with a pint-sized surprise in tow, none other than toddler Charlotte. Claudette's arrival wasn't just a nostalgic reunion, it was a meticulously orchestrated deception that turned Nathan's world upside down. She dropped the bombshell that he was Charlotte's biological father, a claim that pulled at Nathan's heartstrings and led him to invest countless tender moments building what he believed was an unbreakable father-daughter bond. Picture the scenes: Nathan kneeling on the living room floor of their temporary hideout, reading bedtime stories about brave knights and faraway kingdoms, or sharing quiet picnics in the park where Charlotte's giggles echoed like tiny bells, forging memories that seemed destined to last a lifetime. But as Port Charles often does, the truth emerged in a whirlwind of betrayal. Valentine Cassadine, the shadowy figure lurking in the Cassadine Empire's underbelly, was revealed as the real papa, shattering Nathan's illusions in an instant. The saga didn't stop there, it spiraled into even more labyrinthine twists involving Charlotte's origins, a narrative not that General Hospital writers tied with bold retcons to keep the drama alive. Helena Cassadine, the infamous matriarch of villainy with her icy demeanor and ruthless schemes, had secretly pilfered one of Lulu and Dante Falconeri's frozen embryos from a fertility clinic years earlier, a heist conducted under the cover of night with the help of her loyal henchmen and state-of-the-art black market tech. This stolen genetic treasure was implanted into Claudette, resulting in Charlotte's birth, a child now bizarrely positioned as the offspring of Lulu and Valentine, completely bypassing Dante's paternal role in a move that stunned audiences and sparked endless debates on fan forums. To add layers to this convoluted tale, imagine the behind-the-scenes lab drama, shadowy figures in white coats exchanging vials under fluorescent lights, Helena's triumphant cackle as she plotted to weave Cassadine bloodlines into unexpected legacies, all while Nathan remained blissfully unaware until the paternity test results hit like a grenade. Nathan wasn't just a bystander, he actively participated, offering emotional support during custody battles and even clashing with Valentine in heated confrontations that nearly escalated to physical brawls outside the courthouse. His involvement was etched into the show's history, making his recent comment feel like a glaring anomaly. Fast forward to this week's episode, and Nathan's dialogue paints a picture of someone who's been absent from Charlotte's life entirely, as if those formative bonding sessions never happened. He expressed a childlike anticipation about encountering her soon, describing her potential growth into a vibrant young lady with wide-eyed wonder, yet his phrasing suggested a complete stranger's curiosity rather than the warmth of a pseudo-father reuniting after time apart. This discrepancy raises eyebrows because Nathan, portrayed as a meticulous detective with an ironclad memory for details, should recall every heartbeat of that chapter, from the way Charlotte clutched his finger during their first walk in the park to the tearful goodbye when the truth surfaced. If the writers intended for his return to feel seamless after his presumed death and mysterious resurrection, perhaps through some experimental Cassadine serum that revived him in a hidden Q lab, then this line feels like a deliberate crack in the facade, hinting at deeper machinations. Fans are theorizing wildly, could this be a simple scripting oversight, where the team juggled too many threads like ongoing vendettas with Sonny Corinthos or Maxie's lingering grief? Or is it the first breadcrumb in a larger arc where Nathan's impostor theory takes center stage, with a doppelganger planted by rivals like the ever-scheming Ava Jerome to infiltrate the Spencer Circle and extract secrets about the upcoming election scandal? Envision the impostor angle expanding into a multi-episode thriller. This foe Nathan, maybe a hired operative from a European syndicate tied to old Cassadine foes, has studied videos and files to mimic the original but overlooked key personal anecdotes, leading to these subtle slips that could unravel his cover. His motive? Perhaps to sabotage Lulu's journalism investigations into corporate corruption at ELQ, using insider access to plant false evidence or even orchestrate a frame job on key players like Ned Quartermaine. The real Nathan's essence, his unwavering loyalty and sharp instincts, shines through in other scenes, like when he deftly navigates a tense interrogation with the PCPD, but this Charlotte faux pas exposes the cracks, making him seem less like the hero we mourned and more like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit. If it's not an impostor, then the alternative stings, a retcon erasing Nathan's paternal brush with Charlotte to streamline future plots, allowing room for fresh dynamics like a potential romance reignition with Lulu amid Rocco's teenage rebellions. Either way, this moment disrupts the continuity that loyal viewers cherish, turning a heartfelt reunion into a head-scratcher that demands resolution. Shifting focus to Lulu's response, or rather, her startling lack thereof, viewers were poised for fireworks, expecting her to probe Nathan's odd wording with the journalistic tenacity that defines her character. After all, Lulu has always been the one to connect dots, from exposing cons in the Metro Court to unraveling family mysteries with Dante during their Metro Court days. In this exchange, as the camera lingered on her thoughtful expression amid the diner's cozy ambience, she pivoted seamlessly to chatting about Rocco's latest school drama, mentioning his budding interest in soccer and upcoming parent-teacher conferences without a hint of suspicion about Charlotte. This blind spot feels uncharacteristic. Lulu, who fought tooth and nail for custody rights and grieved the embryo theft's implications, should have clocked the inconsistency immediately, perhaps flashing back to shared memories of Nathan's devotion during Charlotte's early days. Inventing a psychological layer here, maybe Lulu's preoccupation stems from her own unresolved trauma, recent therapy sessions delving into her coma recovery and the emotional scars from losing time with her kids, clouding her judgment and delaying the inevitable confrontation. Or, in a twist of dramatic irony, she's playing it cool, harboring her own doubts and planning to consult with trusted allies like Laura Spencer for a discreet background check on Nathan's activities during his absence. Her non-reaction keeps the tension simmering, building suspense for when the penny finally drops, potentially in an explosive family dinner at the Spencer house where old photos surface and truths collide. As the dust settles on this perplexing exchange, Port Charles enthusiasts are vocal about their frustrations, flooding social media with memes depicting Nathan as a goldfish with amnesia and petitions urging the writers to patch these holes before they swallow the storyline whole. The show's history is riddled with retcons, from resurrection spells to identity swaps, but this one hits differently, undermining Nathan's credibility as the reliable cop who once cracked cases involving the Jerome mob and the nurses' ball scandals. If it's indeed an oversight, it risks alienating fans who invest hours weekly, expecting airtight narratives amid the glamour of Quartermaine galas and waterfront intrigues. Picture the ripple effects. Damian Spinelli, the tech wizard with his quirky lingo and endless gadgetry, could stumble upon digital footprints proving Nathan's inconsistencies during a routine hack into old PD files, or Jason Morgan might sense the vibe off during a gravelly voiced stakeout, leading to a high-stakes pursuit through the docks. Adding invented stakes, suppose this slip ties into a broader conspiracy where Charlotte, now a precocious teen navigating boarding school abroad, returns unexpectedly and tests Nathan's knowledge in a heart-wrenching scene, forcing the impostor to improvise or flee. Will the show address this by having Nathan remember in a contrived dream sequence, or escalate to a full reveal that shakes the Spencer-Cassadine alliance? Only time, and upcoming episodes, will tell, but for now, this plot hole looms large, reminding us why General Hospital's blend of romance, revenge, and revelations keeps us hooked despite the occasional stumble. In wrapping up this deep dive, the intrigue around Nathan's Charlotte comment promises fireworks ahead, whether through clever writing fixes or bold new twists that redefine loyalties in Port Charles. Stay tuned as we unpack more spoilers, from budding romances at the floating rib to shadowy dealings in the Cassadine crypt, ensuring you never miss a beat in the ever-evolving world of ABC's General Hospital.